We'd be more than happy to answer questions from the board, either one of us. If not, then we would be more than happy to do what the chairman would like us to do.
Well, we can ask if there are any comments or questions on the part of the board before I enter into another phase of the proceedings. Hearings, see?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have some questions.
Okay.
Also, were you going to have the OID guys speak?
Yes, but that'll follow what you're...
Follow after my questions. On page 2 of the agreement, section 1, the page 2, section 1I mentions that the FERC process may include greater minimum in stream flow requirements. And then the parties would review those requirements. Then section 2B under term provides that such review shall not result in amendment or termination of the agreement without the mutual consent of the parties. In other words, without San Francisco's agreement. And the termination provision on page 9, so you're going to have to flip to page 9 if you want to see this. The termination provision on page 9 allows San Francisco, let me go to that, here we go, but not MID to terminate the agreement due to in-stream flow issues. So if San Francisco does not agree to modify or terminate the agreement because of higher in-stream flow requirements, MID has no recourse or relief from its obligations. I'm asking you, is that correct?
Jim, you want to respond to that?
The answer is yes, you are correct. What will occur in the, as envisioned by the parties when we sat down and negotiated the agreement, two major issues are presently before the City and County of San Francisco, MID and TID. One is the FERC process that you mentioned under Section I. The other process is the State Water Resources Control Board process. Both of those processes will probably end up with additional in-stream flows in the Tuolumne River. When we made this presentation previously to the public and in our discussions here over the last several months, I've estimated or guesstimated that the additional amount of in-stream flow requirements would be upwards to 100,000 acre feet average annual on an outside parameter for your use in trying to get a handle on this. Hopefully it'll be less, but using that as a number, what occurs then is that the City and County of San Francisco is responsible for 51,000 of that. TID is responsible for 34,000 of that, and MID is responsible for 15,000 of that. Of course, given the complexity of the Raker Act and our Fourth Amendment, depending on whose water goes down at what time has been the process. It's been a very long, drawn-out process between the three parties. So what we envisioned was, when we negotiated the agreement, the City and County of San Francisco is paying 2,200 acre feet at $700 an acre foot, which is a pretty steep price for that amount of water over the time period. And what they wanted to be sure of is that when we got down to negotiations about whose water was going down the river, that they wouldn't have to get hit double dip, because what they're trying to do with the 2,200 is to be made whole. So, but at the same time, MID doesn't want to get hit either with additional amounts of water going down the river without being compensated or without making its system whole as well. So what we envisioned when we put the transfer together was that if we had a transfer component in place, that we would know that the 2,200 acre foot was there, and if the City and County of San Francisco thinks it's too much, when we get to the negotiation table, they can terminate it and start from scratch again. We saw no new reason to terminate at 2,200 acre feet at $700 an acre foot, given our potential exposure of only 15,000 acre feet. Max.
So the answer to my question is yes.
Yes.
Okay, I've got a question. Some of our farmers at the end of the system currently rely upon the spill water for irrigation that now will be captured by San Francisco. And I heard what you said.
Got it.
I don't want to go any further with that. But do those farmers have any right or recourse due to us cutting off this supply of water? That's the question.
I'm actually thinking of a specific annexation agreement that we entered into, and whether or not we make spill water available or other waters available, if the supply of water is diminished to landowners within the district in those locations that are in the district, okay, not outside the district, we would have to make other water supplies available to those landowners. Okay, so
Okay, then we'll have to make other water supplies available to them.
if they don't receive the amount of water that they're entitled to as being a landowner within the district, you are correct.
So
If they're
are you
outside-
referring to you said you're referring to an annexation agreement.
Yeah, the one that
That's interesting, annexation agreement.
pops up in my mind is the Mapes Ranch agreement, where we talk about the amount of water that previously left the district that was counted as spill water would now be delivered as irrigation district water on behalf of the district. But it doesn't matter, because within the district, as a landowner within the district, you're entitled to water from the district. The only thing I'm concerned about in your question, just so we're clear, is that lands that are outside the district that previously relied upon spill water or other water for irrigation practices have no recourse against the district if that water is no longer made available. And that's Stevenson versus Oakdale Irrigation District. There's a famous case on that.
Okay, you brought a little bit of that subject up that I wasn't going to go there, but when I asked this question regarding that issue, I understand numerous wells have been installed to replace spill water in anticipation of this deal. And someone raised the issue about whether San Francisco's EIR draft dealt with the impact of these wells or the impact to the San Joaquin Refuge out there, which currently receives spill water. Has staff reviewed the EIR to ensure that those impacts were adequately addressed?
Yes, we have. This goes back to the original question that you asked, and that's why I made the clarification. Basically, as envisioned under the EIR that was adopted, plus the supplemental notes, is that since the water is coming out of storage, we would imagine that the system would continue to operate as the system would continue to as historically operated. Therefore, we would see no changes downstream, either into spill water going to current delivery customers or people outside the district, or to the San Joaquin River or the Tuolumne River or the Stanislaus River by our spills. And the same amount of water that has historically been delivered will continue to be delivered without any infrastructure changes. We would expect that the same results would occur downstream.
So staff has reviewed the EIR to ensure that those impacts weren't adequately.
Yes, actually, unfortunately for me,
But that is the National Wildlife Refuge.
yes, it is. Unfortunately, I've spent a great deal of time going through the EIR and what's entailed in the EIR. I've had numerous discussions with the City and County of San Francisco concerning the EIR. I've met with the person who modeled the hydrologic impacts for the EIR and spent 2 half-day sessions with Mr. Steiner going through the model that was done for the EIR. So I think I have a fairly good understanding of the hydrology that was modeled in the results therefrom.
Well, why is this agreement dated 1/24/12?
I have no idea. To be quite honest.
Really?
It should
Okay.
have been blank 2012, because the agreement, we've been working on the agreement since September or August of last year. So we've had various reiterations of the agreement.
Is San Francisco aware of and read our water supply agreement with the City of Modesto?
Yes, they have.
They're aware of our agreement with the city of Modesto,
Yes, they are.
and they've read that agreement.
Yes, they have.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Any other questions from board members regarding the presentation or the agreement?